Look, forget Champions League nights. Forget matches against PSG and Dortmund and cup finals at Wembley for the first time in 25 years. There is no bigger fixture on Newcastle's calendar, whether it's a friendly, whether it's a kick-about down the park with 2 jumpers for goalposts, whether it's FA Cup, League Cup, Premier League, you name it, it does not matter, than Sunderland, home or away. The Tyne-Wear derby after almost 8 years is back. And one of the biggest match previews I've ever done on this YouTube channel so far is coming up, Newcastle fans. So do us a favour and make sure you stick around. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, you lovely Newcastle fans. And yes, if you haven't noticed, I've got one of the most beautiful sights behind me. I do sometimes get over to St James's Park if I'm here by chance, and I've got the El Pucho with me. Maggie the Mag is just down by my side. I arrived back in Newcastle from my parents for belated Christmas, into Newcastle on the train, and here I am recording my match preview with one of the finest sights behind me you will ever see. I love being here doing a video. And it seems fitting that for one of the biggest previews I'm ever going to do, I've got the perfect location of our beautiful St James's Park behind us. But before we get in to the nerves, the predictions, the thoughts, you name it, the memories of the past, do us a little favour, Newcastle fans. Whack that little likey, Lou. That goes a very, very long way. Only takes you a second as well. Go on, why not? And whack that subscribe if you like my opinion by the end of this. I am going to the derby tomorrow. I will be here at daft o'clock in the morning, which I'll talk about in a second, to get on a bus like some sort of prisoner to get over to the Stadium of Light. In the first time we've seen bubble football, a bubble organised game of football for many, many years. So, where do you even start on this football match? Now, one thing I'm going to say before I dive into the match itself, I know I've got subscribers. I'm very lucky to have subscribers who are from overseas. They've never lived in Newcastle, some of them, maybe America, you name it, and I love it. I love how, if my trip to America in the pre-season taught me anything, it's the passion for this football club. Does not matter where you're from, what your accent sounds like, what your postcode is, we all support and love the same club. But this match, understandably, might not have as much significance for some of those fans as maybe what a game against Man United or Liverpool or a glamorised tie in a cup final might. So I just want to let them know, and maybe anyone who's not old enough to remember the last derby, because it was 8 years ago, or maybe too young at the time, that this game is unlike any other. And I might sound biased when I say this, I don't think there is a derby in this country that has the same level of hatred for one another and passion, and you name it, you literally name it, the Newcastle versus Sunderland. Separated by some water, it dates back many, many years, and I think you're talking maybe Celtic Rangers in Britain, if you want to look at it that way. I think comes close. This is a couple in the UK, you know, the first ones that come to mind. I know Liverpool and Man U hate each other. I know Aston Villa and Birmingham haven't played each other for a very, very long time. But this one trumps all that. And if 6,000 Newcastle fans travelling over to the Stadium of Light, escorted by police in a bubble, like prisoners, as I just mentioned, does not tell you anything you need to know about this match, then nothing will. This game means absolutely everything. Any Newcastle fan watching this in the UK knows a Sunderland fan. And me, you could even argue this match maybe means a little bit more to me than some, because I'm a County Durham born lad, as lots of Newcastle fans will know who watch my videos. And anyone who jumps in calling us a Mackham and all this bollocks. Because the reason I say that is I've grown up, the derby game at the pub was split down the middle. It was half Sunderland, half Newcastle. That's how I've always known the Durham area to be. So Bobby Robson always used to testify to that as well, and I know plenty Sunderland fans. And this game is bragging rights, it's pride of this part of the North East, it's going down the pub on the Munder and Grief and that Mackham in the corner, it's the social media banter, it's just pride in your football club, and we will kick every ball, we'll head every ball, and I cannot emphasise enough how much winning this football match means to both sets of supporters. It's the biggest day in the calendar, it's the biggest match of the year, and you could probably say, after recent years of not playing the Mackhams, it's our biggest match of the last decade. And I just wanted to reiterate that before I dive in. So, one of my memories of the derby's gone past very, very quickly before I do get into the match. where do I even start on that one? I'm very lucky to remember quite a few derbies, and I'm also quite lucky enough to remember derbies when we've actually won, because anyone knows that our record against Sunderland, when we were able to play them before they turned into a semi-professional side, is not very good. Earliest derby memory for me has to be us winning at the Stadium of Light 1-0 when Sunderland had already been relegated. We were pushing for Champions League. We finished third that season, and I'll tell you what, the interesting thing I think back to that match with this derby in mind, if that game taught me anything, back in 2003 when a Nobby Solano penalty won it for us, and we were the massive favourites. Sunderland were down and out. They were worried they were going to get battered. They'd already been relegated. They played the game of their lives that day. Shea Given was absolutely fantastic. Save after save after save. And we scraped through that one by the skin of our teeth. And let that be a lesson to any Newcastle fan going into this derby game with Sunderland the championship team and us the massive favourites. Form can go out the window. Positioning, league positioning, you name it, big names against lesser known names can all go out of the window when Derby Day rears its head, and that game in 2003 is a reminder of that. Other memorable ones for me, got to be Emre's free kick at St James's Park, 3-2. Emre Belazoglu, when Amiobi bagged a couple, that was back and forth, and Emre's free kick was a beauty under Graham Souness. But the one that will always stand out the most is 5-1 on Halloween at St James's Park. What a day. Kevin Nolan. If anyone remembers Mood Bar in the gate, if anyone's from Newcastle watching this, we were all doing the Kevin Nolan chicken dance on Halloween. I was dressed as an Oompa Loompa with me mates on the night after that game. We were doing a chicken dance conga around that bar after that match. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And just to add a little bit more spice, Titus Bramble got sent off that day as well. We've all got our different memories for different reasons. I could have mentioned Ryan Taylor over the wall at the Stadium of Light the last time we won there. There are a lot, and they will always be some of my finer memories. You ask me what one of my most memorable matches in my lifetime is, I will mention a game against Sunderland. Everyone's got their own. Please let me know you're in the comments. But where do we stand in this one? Well, this is the weirdest circumstances of a derby I've ever known going into this match. Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. You know, you painted your black cat's bar black and white. Sunderland's a massive club. I don't need to talk on this video about all the turmoil that Sunderland fans are going through right now. The fact that their owner thought it was okay to decorate their hospitality black and white, not only is it hilarious for us, it's mortifying for them, and it's gone viral around the world. I bet there's Argentinians who were passionate Boca Juniors fans who've gone, hey, arch rivals painting their stadium. It's mental, absolutely mental, and I'm aware that was an awful Argentinian accent, so apologies if I offended anyone there. Not that I think I've got any Argentine subscribers, but it was insane, and that's rubbed. Those photos are going to last forever, and their chairman can apologise all he wants. It's hilarious for us. Those photos will live in the history books. Peter Reid, cheer up Peter Reid on the wall in their own stadium. You couldn't write it. It's bizarre. It's baffling. And I tell you what, the one thing that came to mind when I saw that is how out of touch some people are with football. And I tell you what, maybe that's because there hasn't been a derby for long enough. And I tell you what, Sunderland's owner will find out on Saturday at 12:45 as them players walk out what this means to the club he owns. But yeah, it's been bizarre circumstances. Sunderland fans are saying they've got nothing to lose. That's an absolute load of bollocks. Yes, I understand the argument of a free hit. We're the favourites to win. If Sunderland get anything, it'll be the worst thing in the world for us, and they'll be able to gloat about it. They beat the Champions League, Newcastle, the Saudi-owned rich Newcastle. I get all that, but it's not a free hit. There is no such thing in this fixture as a free hit. Sunderland fans, if they got battered or if they lost, will be getting griefed at work on the Monday. They'll be in an awful mood. It is not a free hit. There is not one die-hard Sunderland fan who will not care about the result of this match. That's a load of absolute tosh. But we go into this game expected to win. And in derbies gone by, I've never known that as much. Maybe that one back in 2003, which I mentioned, when they'd already been relegated. But it's unheard of, and it does put the pressure on us a little bit. How do I see? Well, we'll dive into predictions in a second. Teams, well, for me, it doesn't look like we're going to have many players back. Trippier's a late fitness test. Callum Wilson is out of this one. He's a loss. He is an English striker on a derby who knows where the goal is as a poacher, is a loss. For me, Dubs picks himself. Trippier, if he's available. Livramento at left back is a must. Dan Burn, I might have said a month ago because he's a Geordie that he should be playing in this match. For me, Dan Burn does not start. Sunderland are a very young team. They like to pass the ball quite quickly. I think adopted from the previous season when they had Diallo and they looked a little bit stronger. Jack Clarke, he's their biggest threat. We know he is. He's probably going to be destined for the Premier League. You'd like to hope Trippier is available, but if not, Livramento, I think, against Clarke is a very, very good matchup, and I think that could stand us in good stead. If Trippier is not available, does Dan Burn play? What other option does he have? He has no faith in Hall, and Hall's not up to speed. So you could maybe argue Livramento at left back and Kraft at right back, but I want Livramento against Clarke. Defence, this is going to be a controversial one for me. I would go Jamal Lascelles and Shea. The reason I say that is Botman's looked a little bit out of sorts since coming back into the team. He has. Don't think anyone can deny that. That's fine. He's getting back up to speed. He's played a fair few minutes. He was thrown in a really tough match against Liverpool. Lascelles is our club captain and he will be pumped. And if there's one thing Lascelles is good at, it's the aggressive side of the game. It's the battling in the air. And I think Lascelles would be a perfect fit for this derby game. I really, really do. I really, really do. He'll be pumped for it. And he's British. He knows he's English. He knows what this means to this city. He's been around the block long enough. He knows Dummett quite well. He knows the fans. He knows the city. I would go Lascelles and Shah. I would. Midfield for me, Joe Linton has to be in. Bruno has to be in. Longstaff for me as a Geordie has to be in. Miley, he's done nothing wrong hardly at all. I just think this is a game too much for him. It's massive. And he's 17 and we've got to protect him. We do. And I've got no doubts he'll be pumped for it. He's a Newcastle fan. I don't know whether he starts in this one though. I don't. I think they would target him a little bit. But, having said that, on the topic of targeting Bruno and Joe Linton, I am worried about them keeping their heads. Joe Linton has been whacking elbows around for fun lately, and Bruno is just in this weird habit of doing stupid shit off the ball. I don't know whether VAR's in process for this. I think they already have it, so it won't be. You can argue they can get away with a bit of that if it's not seen. But I am worried about them losing their heads because they know what this means. And in Brazil, their derby games are massive. And it's a concern, it is. We need them to keep their heads. Yes, I want the aggression. Yes, I want the tackles. I want us to be celebrating the tackle in the first couple of minutes because that's fucking crucial in derby matches. But I'm worried about them keeping their heads. Front three, Isak is obviously starting. Gordon has to play. He's a fired-up Scouser who'll know what this means. As for the right of midfield, you've got to go Almiron, haven't you? And I am saying that through gritted teeth because I don't think Almiron will put in much of a shift. I do think Sunderland will target him because he's not the hardest of players. He grafts his bollocks off, we know that, and that'll be important on Saturday, but he needs to show us a bit more quality. I'm sorry, he does. He really, really does. That'll be my team. Does that leave us much on the bench? No. You've got Hall to come in at left back. You've got Miley to come on to change the game in midfield, which Sunderland will get leggy. We are fitter than Sunderland. We're a Premier League side. They are a Championship side. They're a very young team. That means they have a very naive team. I don't look across their side and worry about too many of their players. Luke O'Nien, if he does play, he's their hothead. He's got four red cards in his career for them. He could be one to target because he'll be wanting to impress the Sunderland fans, and he knows what a match like this, the magnitude of it. They're a young team, and what comes with a young side, yes, they've got legs, and that's a worry for me because we've looked a little bit more recently like we don't. But there is a naivety there that we could take advantage of. There is, and let's call it a spade. Being a spade, we have more quality than them. They know that, we know that, everyone watching the match knows that, but can we match their energy, their drive? Who wants it more in the derby game is the first fucking priority. After that, let the quality sprinkle through. Let Isak do his thing. Let Gordon take on two players. Let Bruno dictate midfield. It'll be fast, it'll be ferocious, there'll be tackles left, right and centre, but can we go to the stadium and quieten it the first 15 minutes? That's where, in my experience, all derbies are won. Literally, all derbies are won in the earlier part of the match, depending how that goes. Just getting goosebumps thinking about it. How do I see this one going? Well, I think we'll win. I'm not going to deny that. I've said that as soon as the draw was made. Yes, we're not in good form, but what I said on my previous video, if there is one match that can be used as literally a sparkler to watch some explosions go off, to really ignite 2024 for Eddie Howe's Mags, it's a win in a game like this. The city will be buzzing. The fans will be celebrating with the players. Eddie Howe will be buzzing. And then we've got Man City, Villa, a really hard run in. This 2024 really starting to take January transfer window. We cannot, under any circumstances, lose this football match. I worry for Eddie Howe. I don't want Eddie Howe to lose his job. I've made that very clear. Anyone who says that right now, it's just it's ridiculous in my opinion, with everything he's had to deal with injuries, with his style of play being affected by the amount of fixtures. We will improve, and I said that on my last video, please check it out, but we cannot lose this football match under any circumstances. We can't. If we have to win a scrappy 1-0, so be it. I don't think we should do a little bit better than a scrappy 1-0, but we will. I've got no doubt in previous derbies we've had dodgy managers, dodgy players, and I've been a little bit worried. In this particular one, Eddie Howe knows what it means to the players. We've got a Geordie spine reminding every single one of the players exactly what this looks like as a fixture, what the importance of this is. Byrne, Elliot Anderson, Longstaff, Miley, all in the dressing room doing this, doing that repeatedly, and that's what we need. And we've got the fire of the Brazilians in midfield as well. That's why I think if we can just keep our heads, quieten them down, we will win this match. I'm going to go for Newcastle 3. I'm going to go for Newcastle 3-0. I am. And if I'm wrong on that, yes, I'm going to have egg on my face. It's the derby. Someone will dig my video out. I reap what I sow, as they say. But honestly, tomorrow morning looks like for me, wake up, have a nervous poo, walk back and forth a couple of times, suddenly get a wave of confidence and crack open a can, another nervous poo, and then over for this bizarre bubble trip over to Stadium Light on the bus. And please, Newcastle fans, if you want to come with me on Derby Day, I'm not going to video that much. It's going to be a weird day to have my phone out all the time, but I will get a match vlog. So if you're curious on that, whack that like, whack that subscribe, and let me know your predictions for the biggest game in Newcastle's last decade on Saturday at 12:45. Oh yeah, lads!